A very good evening and welcome to A Date with a Dinner Set, programme 63, here on Sunday the 29th of August in the UK bank holiday weekend, and we have a Seaside special. Now, for some of you oldies in there, you might remember that footage. I have a vague recollection of it from the mid-70s to about the 80s. On a Saturday night, the BBC used to broadcast a programme either called The Big Top or the Seaside Special, and that was a lovely bit of footage from there, don't you think? Do you remember that? And the music, that's the music I remember. I've been trying to trace it, not a clue what it's called. I have a feeling that it was written by Mike Batt, he of the Wombles fame, because he was certainly involved in those amazing Seaside specials. They were very special at the time, and they were good fun to watch. Anyway, you're very welcome whether you're listening live or whether you're listening on the catch-up to our programme this evening. I hope you've had a good week. I've only caught a few clips of the Paralympics, but I'm absolutely astounded at what those athletes can actually achieve. It's humbling and mind-boggling, isn't it, to watch that. So we don't seem to have got our heat wave for the bank holiday, but there's certainly been some sun around, and this evening all of our songs are either about the beach or the seaside or the sea, so hopefully it will put you in the holiday mood for what we're going to do this evening. If you are live with us in the chat room, then feel free to chat along and bring your own seaside memories to the chat room, or anything else that you want to talk about, of course. Yeah. So, without further ado, well, apart from the customary cup of coffee, because you can't go to the beach without a cup of coffee, I've found. Let's open. Indeed, indeed. As Brother Mark says, and indeed Stavely, hello Stavely, here comes the sun. And also, as correctly Stavely says, not that much of it. It's been out, it's shown its face. Before my time, David James, but thank you for that useful information. It was indeed. Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles, that one written by George Harrison, and that was from 1969 from the Abbey Road album. And I thought that was a fitting way to open our little seaside whatnot. So it's going to be quite a mix. So don't necessarily expect cockles and mussels and knees up Mother Brown, roll out your barrel and all that. There is a bit of that, but there's a sort of a more general theme of the sea, the seaside and the beach going on this evening. So, a very well-known song, one of my favourites, is our next one. Good evening. If you are just joining us, hello, Jean. It's lovely to see you. Hello, Marwan, down in Luxor today. And you've certainly got the sun down there, I know. So, yes, interesting, David. I was going to say to my brother Mark that whatever the weather going on down in Hereford, they've certainly got the seagulls down there. And yes, we do get them around here. And it makes a nice change from the parakeets or something. That was, of course, as correctly identified by Brother Mark and also Stavely again, the girl from Ipanema, of course. One of those lovely beach songs, Bossa Nova from 1963 by the wonderful Tom Jobim, Antonio Carlos Jobim, and as made famous by Astro Gilberto. So, there we go. Something a little more serene here, I think. Hello, Jill, down in Devon. Much hotter than my friend Marwan in Luxor. Hello, Italy. Wonderful. Glad you're having good weather, and it's wonderful to see you over there. Something a little calmer now. Oh, a nice peaceful one. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was a lovely bit of video, wasn't it? And I am actually allowed to use that one. It said free to use, and it was seemed to sum up that song, which could have been Sleepy Shores. I did think about playing that one, brother, but it wasn't. As Kate and Stavely said, it was Stranger on the Shore, and indeed it was written and performed by Acker Bilk. Acker Bilk wrote it in 1961 for his daughter, and his daughter's name was Jenny, and the piece was originally called Jenny, but we know it as Stranger on the Shore. And it's a really beautiful, beautiful song, especially when it's played by himself, Mr. Acker Bilk. Indeed, yes. If I have to bail out, I have my little life rings. Let's not comment too much about the scale of all my little whatnots, my doohickeys on the piano, because they're not all in scale with each other. But of course, most importantly, the ice creams are huge, and that is important, isn't it? Indeed. A good year indeed, Brother Mark. 1961. Stranger on the Shore. Hope you enjoyed that one. Hello, Maria. Hello, over in Spain. Nice to see you, my lovely. Gosh, Hannah and Flynn and Fenella, we've got all the beautiful emojis to go with the theming of A Date with a Dinner Set 63 Seaside Special, so thank you for that. Hannah, you took the words right out of my thought about good luck to Walton Voices and Disney. But indeed, a great big race between Hannah up in Yorkshire and Kate in Surrey, almost exactly the same time, Under the Sea. And as Jill added to that, from Disney's Little Mermaid from 1989, written by Alan Menken with lyrics by the late Howard Ashman. So that was a nice one to do. If you've just joined us, or if you've joined on the catch-up and haven't got a clue what's going on, but you like the music, do give it a thumbs up, because that does help other people to find our merry little channel and what we do here on A Date with a Dinner Set. So there's an idea. Let's rename all of Gershwin's shows, starting with Porky and Bess, and why not? So indeed, Maria, well done. Your connection is obviously very good tonight. I mean your internet rather than your brain to your memory and all that sort of thing. It was, of course, summertime, and as Jill said, from Porgy and Bess, written in 1934. So yes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song, or it certainly was until I got my hands on it. It's different every time. But to me, it's one of those pieces of music that is the very epitome of summer. And so it needed to be included in our Seaside special here on A Date with the Dinner Set. So I meant to report last week that finally, my son Edward had his first jab. What a relief after about 6 weeks of nagging. I can safely say that because I know Ed doesn't listen. But he's had his first jab, so we are much relieved about that in the family. And looking forward to the next one already. As we said, if you want to like the video, please do. Do leave a comment. You'll always get a reply. And do share it on if there's people you think that might enjoy what we do here on the channel. Then press those buttons, and that will help everyone very much. So here's one we haven't had for a bit. In fact, we haven't had it since January, when it was very inappropriately played. I know it's a long time since I played it because I've now decided I've forgotten it, so I need to have the dots in front of me. I hope you enjoy. Indeed, Brother Mark, a bossa nova of the pretty lively variety, even by that composer's standard. As Stavely said, and Hannah before as well, again, Antonio Carlos Jobim, Tom Jobim. And that one, well done, Hannah, well remembered, was Surfboard. We've got an emoji for everything, haven't we? Isn't it wonderful? Surfboard, written in 1965. And interestingly, I find it interesting, that was written on Ipanema Beach when Tom Jobim was teaching his son to surf. But it's very much the 60s surf sound, that Latin American rhythm going on there. Yes, indeed, very lively, very lively. So there we go. So here comes an interesting piece. I'll tell you a little bit about its history afterwards. I'm 99.9% certain that no one will know it. Or very, very few people might have heard it, caught it on the drift. But it's a little piece which seemed appropriate for a certain type of seaside that is going on in our very special seaside programme, a date with Dinner Set 63 this evening. So I hope you enjoy it and the imagery which it conjures. Now, look, I'm not suggesting that any of you in the chat room will remember those images that I threw up there. Oh, I stand corrected. Hello, Daisy. Well, maybe you will remember those Victorian scenes there. Some little bit of Blackpool scenery. Oh, that's good. That's good, Stavely. I'm glad that it does that. So now I tell you a little bit about the history of that piece. It's an own composition, and it's appeared in several guises since I first came up with the idea, which was to accompany some silent drama in a production in 2001. So then it just had the title of Promenade, and it was sort of improvised on the spot to sort of cover the action on stage. But I rather liked the tune of that, and so I then turned it into a song for infant children, and they had fun with the tune and dressing up for that. They didn't have so much fun with my words. I'm a bit wordy when I write songs, not terribly suitable, too many syllables for 5, 6 and 7-year-olds, but there we go. And at that point, it was called Picnic by the Seaside, but its most recent guise was when it was extended, and I turned it into a proper piece for my great friends down in Petersfield, the Bland family. So we did it for piano and for flute, for baritone, horn and double bass, when it became the Picnic Cakewalk. So there we go, a little piece of pastiche. Wonderful. So yes, that was originally from 2001, but it changes around. But I thought you'd like the images that went with that. Indeed, grey days at the seaside. But not if you are where Wendy is, where Maria is, and where Marwan is. The sun is shining in varying degrees, quite a few degrees in the case of Luxor, right up to 45. Daisy, since you're very late, about 40 minutes ago, Marwan said hello to you. Just thought you'd like to know that. So, there we go. Now look, we've reached the 2-song stage already, which is which was frightening, really, because we've been romping along our seaside. I think what it is, we've been trying to avoid all the seagulls, so we've been sort of hurrying along with our songs this evening. Just going back to that Stavely, yeah, but it was meant to be. It was meant to be like an Edwardian piece, even though I wrote it in 2001. So I'm glad that you thought it was from that, because that means job sort of done. Oh, I'll tell you another interesting thing. So when I process the videos of these A Date with a Dinner Set, YouTube is a very clever thing, and it goes through checking for copyright issues. So I'm expecting tomorrow it to say, to recognise things like the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun, Girl from Ipanema, Under the Sea. It'll say, you know, this is copyright music. Yes, you're allowed to perform it, but you can't make any money in adverts from it, which is fair enough, because I haven't got enough subscribers for that. And it always amuses me when I stick a piece of it I've sort of written, or a piece of pastiche. I'll be very interested to see what YouTube amazing algorithms make of that piece. And of course, if they identify the piece I've just played, that Cakewalk, as something else, then I'm in trouble, and it's not really original. So there we go. I'll keep you posted on that one. Indeed. Stavely Maria, Somewhere Beyond the Sea, or La Mer, Maria, quite correctly, in its original French, written by Charles Trenet in 1959. But the English lyrics by Mitchell Parish turned it into Somewhere Beyond the Sea, covered by all the greats, as Stavely says, Mr. Blue Eyes, but also I think Bobby Darin was one of the first to do it. Ah, you're admiring my cones, Daisy. Yes, no flakes in there for you. Let's ignore the fact that they are slightly out of proportion with my palm trees and my other whatnots, but there we go. Ah, yes, and for those of you that do not know what those otters are all about, that's a YouTube channel I follow. I follow the adventures of those two Asian otters, Katara and Hana in Japan, house-trained otters, and they're well worth a look because they are incredibly cute and, as I say, totally house-trained, and as a couple that's absolutely devoted to them and spend their whole life entertaining them and bringing out the best in them. So there we go. So before we sort of move into our last song, I wanted to remind you that it's not that long now until Coffee on the Keys starts to return. So we're going to do two coffees on the keys. The first one is going to be on Wednesday the 15th of September, and that's going to be at 11 o'clock till 12 o'clock. And this time we are raising money for a Hampshire charity called Step by Step, which helps young people through hard times towards better future. And I'm hoping that through the donations we raise on the two mornings in September and October, we can make a bit of a difference to that wonderful charity. It's very difficult when choosing charities, but this charity, Step by Step, actually approached me. They'd come across Coffee on the Keys when we raised it for Rent Start in Elmbridge. So that is going to be our charity. And as I say, the first one of those is coming up September the 15th. Not so many days' time. So, we're going into our last song, which will be very familiar. We've had it lots and lots of times. I'm smiling already because it's one of those feel-good songs that is appropriate, certainly appropriate for a late bank holiday weekend, whatever the weather's doing in the UK. So please feel free to sing along and to comment along to our last song. it seemed an appropriate one to end our Seaside special, didn't it? Fantastic song indeed. Stop laughing at me. I'm quite happy looking like this. In fact, can I just say, depending on which side of the sartorial fence you sit, I'm actually the best dressed person, or possibly the worst dressed person, on the beach today for our Seaside special. But that was indeed Mr. Blue Sky, written by Jeff Lynne, and the wonderful ELO 1977, and seemed a good way to finish our Seaside special. So there's only one way in which I can play you out, and that is to take you back to Blackpool, where we were a little bit. So I do hope you enjoy our closing music. I do hope you have enjoyed our special bank holiday Date Within a Set 63 Seaside special. And do enjoy whatever you do tomorrow on Bank Holiday Monday, and of course in the week ahead. So just before I say goodnight, let's say goodnight up in Yorkshire to Flynn and to Fenella and Hannah, and indeed good night to all of you, and stay well, look after yourselves, have a good week.